Hi everybody, this is Diana in LA and Cary in the UK, and we're here to talk about this week's stars. Welcome to our weekly reading where we explore all things astrological. From our two different points of view in two different locations in the world, we bring to you a unique astrological perspective on what is happening right now across the globe. So here we go. I want to start like this week. I've been hearing back from many of you have been saying, you said it was going to be a great week. And it was, in the global sense. And I want to just make a note about that, because just in the same way as last year that was so hard and relentlessly hard, we kept coming up against it globally as a world. Now, what's interesting is, how does it affect your chart? Right? And this is where you have to look at your own chart to see where these aspects are occurring. Because even though, yes, it was Sun conjunct Venus conjunct Chiron, which we didn't even talk about last week, which is very powerful and very joyful in a certain way, if it's opposing your sun or moon or sitting on your Uranus, it could come out very differently than the way we're talking about it, because uniquely to you in your chart, it's going to affect us all differently. And so that is why it is good to understand your own chart more and more. And as we head into this next week, which is another power-packed week with Sun conjunct Venus still, and many more things that we're going to talk about, you need to look at your chart, and you can run it out on astro.com, or you can talk to Cary or I, and we'll look at your chart and build it for you. But either way, as you get to know your inner life, right, and your celestial life, you get to know yourself better and to see where these aspects are affecting your chart personally. So here we go for this amazing week where Mercury is moving into Aries on today, Sunday, basically, and we have a new week of forward motion. Mercury in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Mercury, the communications that we offer, how we speak. It's hotter, it's more aggressive, it's forward, it's how we feel. It's not necessarily open-minded. It's definitely hot. And in America, we are having a very interesting conversation in our world as we are all watching the George Floyd trial and all of the emotions that are coming up for our country about this very old subject that is coming up for healing. Well, that's Chiron. So we'll talk more about that. Cary, what are you seeing from your side of the world?
Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Hope you had a lovely week and enjoyed the Sun conjunct Venus aspect, which is going to be continuing for the rest of the week. So as the Sun dances with Venus all week, the world will feel that, and it'll be really nice on both sides of the pond. But there's some very interesting aspects coming up for both the United Kingdom and especially the United States, which culminate on Friday. And that is, a quick look, we have on Friday Sun conjunct Venus, as before. We've got Moon conjunct Neptune squaring Mars. Now all this is at 21 degrees, so the Moon conjunct Neptune is at 21 degrees Pisces, squaring Mars at 21 degrees Gemini. The United States natal Mars is 21 degrees Gemini. So Mars this week comes back to where Mars was at the birth of the United States. And Neptune is squaring Mars. So that is political division, perhaps. George Floyd, coronavirus, ideals, energy in conflict with each other on the United States natal Mars. So this is a really big week. And having the Moon conjunct Neptune squaring Mars up there and the natal Mars of the United States, expect some really important news to come out of America on Friday.
Right, we're growing as a nation and we're growing as a world. And these great big aspects with Neptune have to do with ideals and how we philosophically hold together as a world. And uniquely in the United States, because it's connected directly to Mars, what we fight for, right? And in Mars is in Gemini in the US chart. So we fight for ideals and principles and thoughts and things and philosophies, and we are known for that here as a country. And that is very much what's up. Well, what are these ideas that we hold? What do we actually believe? What will we fight for? Moon is conjuncting Neptune, and that creates a very powerful emotional aspect to it, that people are really feeling this down to the core of their being, that this is an important time, and it is.
It's a very important time for the UK too, because as Mercury goes into Aries, it trines. Mercury goes into Aries once a year. And at this time of the year, it's quite an optimistic time because, as I talked about last week, the UK has Jupiter in Leo, at the beginning of Leo, in the 10th house, which is the house of work. And Mercury is now trining the Jupiter, the natal Jupiter of the UK. So that will give a really nice feel to things, and things are beginning to open up. At the same time, as we talked about last week, we've got Saturn squaring the UK's Mars, which makes things very difficult, our relationships with Europe, our relationships with each other. It's quite a trying time underneath the surface, but on the surface, things are quite positive and very idealistic. Because the other thing is, although Neptune is squaring Mars, Jupiter has been trining Mars. So it's alleviating any heaviness that the square of Neptune has been having to Mars. So it's an very important week.
Right. And then this Friday, when Mercury conjuncts Chiron, exactly, this gets really interesting because Mercury, the planet of our voice, of our truth, of what we believe and what we communicate, is conjuncting Chiron, which is about the healing, right? It's about, healer, heal thyself. It is the wounded healer, literally it's called that. And so our wound, right, is up for conversation, meaning Mercury is in Aries. So that's hot right there. Conjuncting Chiron in Aries, exactly. So this has got a lot of argument and debate in it, right? And velocity and traction, and it's loud. So we're going to be hearing it on the news. We're going to be hearing it from each other of different opinions about all of this. So it's an intense week in that way, I feel. And then also, Pluto is squaring Venus, exactly. As we get later and later into the week, Friday, Saturday, it's getting to be almost exactly square. And so that creates drama, and that creates more expressed emotion that's volcanic and eruptive. So towards the end of the week, it looks like it's going to get pretty intense out there. And I wonder how that's going to affect your chart. Like I said earlier, it depends where your planets are, how you're going to feel the impact of this. But we're talking now globally, all of us. It's in the air, I call it. It's in the energies. And you can start to feel this hot energy, even though it might not be impacting you in the same way as it is everyone. It's still in the air.
When it comes to the end of the week on Saturday, there's some lovely aspects taking place, especially with Mars. So as well as you've got the Neptune squaring Mars, you've got Venus sextiling Mars, which is a very nice aspect. It's only 2 degrees away. You've got Jupiter trining Mars, which is another very nice aspect. So although it may feel that it's very important, we are in very important times, there's going to be some very important news, it's going to be lightened by these very nice aspects of Jupiter and Venus to Mars.
Right. If you look at the charts, and as I'm looking at all of them in front of me, Mars, 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 Mars. All of the aspects are sort of coming to Mars at 21 Gemini around, right? 19 to 22 over the week. And so it's triggering all these other aspects with other planets. So Mars, the planet of war, the planet of action is a better way to say it, though, because it's about what we do. Mars is what we do, and it's in Gemini, so it's what we're talking about right now and what we're debating about right now. The inner conversation that is happening within us and without us. And with Mercury going into Aries also, right? The rulership of Mars is Aries. Right? So we got some energy here, right? Of more debate, more conversation, more argument too. But hopefully to open up this conversation that really needs to happen.
If you've got Mercury in Aries, having Mercury in Aries makes you sharp, makes you quick thinking, makes you fiercely inquisitive about certain subjects. So having Mercury moving into Aries gives that feel for the world. So there's that extra kick into communication. There's that extra kick into how we communicate with each other. So have a look to see what planets that you've got at that degree where Mercury is right now. So if you have a planet between 1 degrees and 12 degrees in Aries, you will be feeling the transit of Mercury this week, whatever planet that is in your chart. And again, as Diana said, ask us on our Facebook page, send us an email. Be happy to answer your questions if you know what planets you've got at that degree. But it's a very important time for the world because having Mercury in Aries is a very bright time. It's a very exciting time. And as the UK, for example, has its Jupiter at 1 degree Leo, at the beginning of the week, we get this really nice feel to the start of the week, which continues during the week as the UK, a bit like a flower, starts to open up a little bit.
Right. So it's an exciting week. And another thing, I just want to add to what Cary was saying earlier about the US chart. Besides that, the Mars at 21 Gemini is squaring 22 Virgo Neptune, natally in that chart. And in the chart you'll be able to see to the side here. It's also Neptune is opposing Neptune, almost exact. And the moon is conjuncting Neptune at the same time this Friday. And so that conjunction, moon conjunct Neptune, opposing Neptune, squaring Mars, and then Mars squaring moon and Neptune, that energy is those patterns are about the ideals of the United States. What are they? And this is the conversation we're having in the US right now. And this, to me, this George Floyd trial is very much at the heart of it, because it is literally at the heart of this central healing that is trying to happen in our country. And we pray it does, right? We hope for the best for us, that we kind of evolve as a country and as a world. And we are in the forefront of the world as people are watching it too, around the world. Like, what is right relationship with each other as human beings on this planet? So these are the conversations that are happening, and it's very powerful. And I also want to say, and I was trying to remember this, because it feels like a time of Renaissance. You remember the 60s, some of you were around, we were. There was a big push of energy, of this sort of new thought that started happening, and came from the underground, from the young people coming out. And I think it's happening again. You'll see it in the music, Neptune, Mercury, Chiron. You'll see it in the conversations and the protesting and in the media, all different kinds of ways. It's all being reflected in our culture in this new way at a new time, when the way that we're mainly communicating is by internet and by television, but even more by cell phones, showing pictures. Look at this, we're showing each other around the world. Images of what's happening where we are, and we're all seeing it together. That's going to change things.
Certainly will. And what's interesting, just taking on from what you said about the United States chart, having transiting Neptune opposed natal Neptune creates a T-square with the United States natal Mars. So by having transiting Mars conjunct natal Mars, it's a really big thing. So this is a pivotal year for the United States.
And so on that note, that's a good place to leave this for now. There's so much more to say. And how are you responding to these energies that are in the air right now? I would ask you. And how can you contribute something that helps and heals our world? So we'll see you next week, and we hope you will follow us, subscribe, share, like, and comment on our YouTube page, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, or by email. We'd love to hear from you. So have a great week, everybody.
You take it easy, everybody, and have a lovely week.